This is such a big thing, Mike.
Thank you.
Come on, Jim. Good morning, Colin.
Morning.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Hello and welcome to Qatar's first sports podcast, In the Game. I'm your host, Steve Mackey, and we can't wait to introduce you to everything that is sports here in Qatar and afar. We're going to be bringing you personalities, company owners, institutions, individuals that are making a real difference. So, with us, enjoy the journey. Hello and welcome to In the Game, Qatar's first sports podcast. Now, again, I've been waiting for this one all week because this is really exciting and it's going to kind of let me know about how I can better myself as an individual and build my endurance. Hichame, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited. I can't wait for everybody to know what you do, but let's start from the very beginning. Okay. Let's hear your journey beforehand and then we can move into the subject that we're going to talk about.
Thanks. First of all, thanks, Steve, for receiving me.
Oh, perfect.
It's really a pleasure. Any moment that I can use to spread the word around what I've done and around the consequences in my life and how this can be triggered to other people's lives. That's always a privilege and an honor. So thanks for that. So my name is Hichame Moubarak. I work in Qatar since almost now. Live in Qatar since almost 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a bit of. I would say it's just my place now. So I'm French, basically, based in Qatar. So in working in oil and gas industry actually. And I like also to go out of the box, and try to explore some other things. I'm characterize myself like I'm an introvert, so sometimes you will feel me like not feeling good in this podcast because I'm really not used to that. I will do my best.
Yeah, you're doing good now. You're doing good.
And so I call myself like an ultra endurance athlete, which is someone who likes to go into distance. My background is coming from France. I grew up there. I left my parents' place around 12 years old, would say, for some school. I have a bad experience into my childhood, and I just tried to develop myself into sports. So That's why I went into this ultra endurance athletics stuff. So maybe the question is, what is ultra endurance? Maybe.
Because it's kind of really interesting and it's kind of I try and keep to not give them all everything. I want to build up to the quest. Sure. Sorry.
Ultra endurance is. It's not something about going into distance. You can have an ultra endurance event like walking with a horse nearby and using the horse to move yourself and get walking nearby, or go for a cycling journey for one day, or decide to go all around Qatar, for challenging yourself. It's really something that's not related to distance. It's something related to where your mind can tell you, can take you. Into which distance you can go inside your mind. So it's not about miles or kilometer. It's about how inside you are built of what's your fears, what's your insecurities, because all these things are coming through this type of challenge that I'm doing, and you have to face these things in order to go to the next level, to the next step. So it's all about mindset. It's about challenging yourself, facing your fears, facing your lies, because we all have lies in life, watching yourself in the mirror and say to yourself what I'm capable of, So it's daily. It's a lifestyle. I think it's really not about sports. It's really about mindset and how you consider yourself into your own journey, and how the outside affects your way of thinking in the inside. So we will talk a lot about mindset, I guess.
I'm touching on those points that you just said there. And again, we've got sports people that's going to be watching the podcast. We've got business owners. We've got people that are running within institutions. And they're going to be really interested in this because those people that got it inside of them, and I would class to a certain degree, that kind of looking at yourself in the mirror on a daily basis, looking at yourself, are you lying to yourself? Are you you got to step up on a daily basis?
Yeah.
And it's important to, especially it's not just from a sports perspective. It's on every level. You've got to be looking yourself, and the people that I find that are successful are the ones that do look at themselves and ask them whether you're putting it in that day. Yeah. You're putting the skin in the game.
Accountability, accountability, discipline, consistencies are key. Yes.
And kind of with my background in the forces, I never used to like running. But you run for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, that's one of my sport. But I would say, starting from the beginning, our let's say our brain, our mind are like programs,
Yeah.
And we built some programs from 0, let's say, to the age 7 or 8 years old. This is what our parents give us, basically. So these programs are just coming from our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
We just repeat them, and let's say from 10 to right now, I let's say from 10 to 30 years old, 35 years old, I was just used to repeat this program. Don't do that, do this, it's better. This is not safe, or don't trust this, or don't do that. All these things that we heard around from our parents, from our friends, from our environments creates our behaviors.
Yeah.
So what I discovered is that more I was going against these behaviors, and more I was getting to the true core of myself. So means that I was going on the opposite side of what I've learned from day one.
Yeah.
All of us, we learn from day one to do this, or think that way, or do things in a certain way. What I've done is I changed the way I think, and from that moment, that specific moment, changing the way I think, I look at things differently, and I say, what if I can do this? What if I think another way, or I consider this as these issues like differently? It allows me to consider a situation that I have to face in different way, instead of having this little voice in my mind telling me you are not capable of doing it. This little voice was still there, but the way I changed my mind is the way I think is now. The voice is still there every day, even now.
Yeah.
But I have ways now to silence that noise and go through the process of that thousands of kilometers of run. Last year I ran 5,000 kilometers, for example. 2 years ago I was more triathlete. I'm a triathlete actually. I do Ironman triathlons. The pain and suffering is a lot there also. Lots of training hours. You need to be very used to the pain, used to the suffering, and being at home. I didn't watch TV since almost 8 years now. I do not watch TV at all. I try really to focus on myself in the sense that look at these phones, look at these social medias and stuff like this. All these things are useful. I'm not saying they are not, but they are putting you in a certain comfort level.
Yeah.
And this is what I try to avoid, to be comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not being crazy or thinking, I'm going to give myself pain today or next day against pain. But I like to, in Qatar, last Friday I did it. I like to ride a bike, 100 kilometers, 52 degrees outside. I did it. So this is just normal for me. I like to go and swim 5-6K in the sea, open seawater, and get bit by jellyfish. You can see here. Yeah, it's just normal to me. What makes me afraid right now is that I get these issues, I manage them, but I don't feel pain. I feel the physical pain, but I have made some connection in my mind that habits creates I would say, if you are getting used to do something, the way you look at it is different after some certain point. So more you put habits in your life on doing things that you don't like, and more you get stronger in your mind.
Yeah.
So your mind trigger some connections inside. I don't know how it works especially, but I think there is a link between subconscious mind and conscious mind, you know. And if you keep going and grounding your brain and your mind, your body do not take control of your mind anymore, because the pain is more physical, you know. And you get the mind controlling the body. I believe really that's the mind. The mind is the key. And getting used to get your mind grounded like this every day, your body, physical issues on your body are just nothing, you know. I can run with issues on my blisters or my feet, or, you know, open sea water here is like crazy. Our sinuses, you know, are getting burned, like to the feeling that sometimes I have blood, something coming out, you know. So yeah, I done some races last year by having issues, health issues, you know. It's not being crazy, honestly. I know what I'm doing, but to the point that I'm not afraid anymore of things that usually we should be afraid of. So now this tells you that what we are capable of. We are capable to much more things than what we think. We think that we are not capable of running in this heat. I believe we can. So it's just about getting good hydration, getting good gears or stuff, light clothes, and making light lunch, and go ahead. You do it.
So
it's going to be painful, but you can do it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of. Is there hope for people like? Okay, let's look at our ages. When can we adopt this? When can? Is it something that you're used to? You get used to, or when? 53. Okay, let's not say 53. Let's say 25. Can people still get to your thoughts and pushing the barrier?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I was like a couch potato guy, you know, plus 10 to 15K compared to where I am right now. It's not a question of how many kilos. It's about mindset. But I was going to work, you know, maybe 1 hour exercise per week. Nothing is interesting. I realized that I hit the wall, you know, in my life through personal reason, and this is when you hit the wall. This is funny how humans work. When you hit the wall, that you change, you know, or you start to say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to do this or do that. But in fact, I think there is no moment to change, you know. You can hit the wall by yourself. I'm trying to hit the wall by myself every day, you know.
Yeah.
I have a 1 hour and a half bike right after this podcast in the heat, and I'm going to Alcor and come back, you know. So it's just
in 1 hour.
In 1 hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah. And the heat is on, you know. I think you can change. It's the way you think every day. If you think and you get with the flow, with the society and the flow, you just get used to the comfort, and you say, this little voice will come every day. She's coming every day for me also. And she will put you into the place where you are used to since childhood, since what you heard from day one, and since what you are used to do. I'm not saying that nothing is possible, but I consider that even having child, hard work or something, there is always sometimes you can find to discover yourself. Take it like a journey to discover yourself. You know, it's discovering yourself is, I believe, to go through pain and suffering. So I believe there is no other way. This is my way, and honestly, I don't see other ways to. Yeah, meditation, being in a temple in Nepal somewhere, you know, and not speaking to anyone, like, you know, retreat stuff, you know. I'm doing kind of same things, but through sports and you know, and athletic stuff. So, yeah.
But in life, you're going to feel the pain. You're going to feel those times you don't want to do it. You're going to get that person that comes out on your shoulder daily.
Yeah.
So why don't you? And again, this is something that I'm feeling, especially in myself, is that you just want to kind of push yourself. It's like I keep on saying this about the weight loss I've gone through. I was 146 kilo, but it was just a matter of saying, okay, I'm going to have 1 meal or 2 meals a day, and what I'm going to put into my body is going to be fuel for my body, so that you start thinking about the stuff that you're putting in, because it needs to run.
Yeah.
And again, it's really interesting with the stuff that you're saying, because
I think it's really something that I discover as actually more you go into that suffering and pain, and more, I mean, you enter into a different world. If I say to you that I was, it's like a meditation, but I was like into behind the pain and suffering. This is greatness for myself at that moment for me only. It's not to be like comparing to other people, but I'm doing things for me, for myself first, and to support some charity cause reason, behind, but trust me, behind that pain and suffering, when you know how to go through that, on the other side, it's joy, it's happiness.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to characterize that. It's really special. It's like being detached from all this material stuff, all this thought that we have every day, about how should I pay the rent, how do I'm going to deal this at work with my boss, and you enter into a world that change you to be better for yourself, better for your family if you have, better in your relationship, better in with your friends, in each level of society. This is where I think sports brings us together, I guess. Also, there is lots of quality behind these things of challenging yourself.
I can relate to it. I can relate to it. Running was just one of those things that I hated. But it was, once you'd gone through a stage and you felt that pain barrier, it was you could just run for hours. You could just forget everything. You would just carry on running. But it's fascinating. But I know that we're limited for time a little bit. But the biggest thing is, so what made you think that you were going to take this challenge on that you can tell us about now?
Oh yeah, I mean the one that I'm going to do, the quest. Yes, the quest is about I done a lot of challenge outside the country, and now the quest was really about to do something in the country. So the quest is an ultra triathlon, never been done before, called Ultraman. Actually, you have Ironman triathlon and Ultraman. It's a reverse triathlon. So we start with the run. How crazy I am! It was designed only for me to do it in summer, actually. But I shifted to a group of triathletes because I believe that community brings much things for the country, to a reverse triathlon, starting with a run of 90 kilometers. And then we have a cycling route of 335 kilometers. Yeah, I know, it's going to be painful. And we finish with a swim of 9 kilometers. From Qatar to an island around and come back.
So run first, 95 kilos, right?
90. Yeah. And cycle around Qatar and go back to Doha. We go all around Qatar from Doha, south, west, north, and back to Doha on the west side. So yeah, the pain, never been done, and it's quite challenging because I don't know about the swim, how I'm going to react and how other athletes are going to react for the swim part. Because it's running and cycling put the legs under high loads, and the cramp can happen on the swim side. So we are doing that for raising. Trust me, I crossed 4 deserts last year in 2018, the most difficult deserts on Earth, the most windiest. I was in Antarctica for the coldest. I ran 5,000 kilometers in total, and it was like expedition, like nature expedition, crazy stuff. I did that to raise money for charity water. This is an
unbelievable, fantastic
group for getting clean water access to some people in Africa and Asia. I raised money for 800 people. So the project is ongoing now in a country called Sierra Leone. And this one, the Qatar Quest, I was like coming from the 4 deserts. I finished them. 3 weeks after, I restart running. That was a crazy moment for me. It was in January this year. I was starting to put the steps, and I run always in the desert there in the north. And I start to feel that my body was in look of my first stride and my first step. And I start to run, and after 20 seconds, I start to cry. I don't know why. I realize why after, because my body was so used to run in 2018 for, let's say, these thousands of kilometers, that putting him back into that motion, he understand that he basically said to me, thanks for putting me back into the running. I cry of joy. I cry of happiness. That's what happened. This is so crazy to tell you the level of connection inside and how the mind, the body works together. it put me to that sensation of crying while I was running, and it was a cry of not sadness, it was joy, it was happiness, and I felt it. It was just crazy. So I decided to create that Qatar Quest project based on coming back to Qatar and coming back to triathlon, because I'm triathlete at the beginning. Ultra endurance, it's also triathlon. So I've done lots of run last year, but now it's about triathlon. I would like to really relax my body a bit more on legs. But I associate the event with Al Shafala Center, which is a center working with the disabled child in Qatar.
Fantastic.
And the idea is that the motion of the athletes, created by the athletes around the country, will create the emotion to the children. So these children are various level of disability. I'm working right now with the center to get them on board. We have already an agreement in place, but the idea is this: I believe that an emotion can trigger anything down the road. I feel it. It happened to me, and I change a lot. Now I believe that creating emotion into this disabled child brain will change them the next day, or in 3 weeks, or the next year. And the goal of the center, the Al Shafala Center, is to introduce them into the Qatari society for being part of the society impact, evolution in Qatar. So I want the Shafala Center student to be with me in the Qatar Quest, and the athletes to be visible and really to be part of that event, to get some fun with the athletes and realize that how we athletes suffer and our emotions can help them into creating their emotions. So that's the overall idea.
It's just an incredible. Your story is incredible. It's kind of I just don't know how you can put your body through that amount of stress and pain. It's incredible.
Yeah, but I have to pay the price also. Honestly, it's sometimes I'm far from being borderline. What amazed me is how my body recover. How the body understand that you put load on it. I can run 50K. I have a good swim, a good sleep, a night sleep, a good hydration in place, and clean food. And I'm vegan also. So all these things together, you put that, the next day the body wake up and you say, boom, let's go ahead.
I can hear so many vegans out there going, yes.
Yes.
I've got friends that are vegans, and they're always promoting the situation that they're saying, hey, listen, you don't need meat. You don't need to have meat. And it's like, you're dear me, you don't need meat.
No. It's again, these programs that we have been used to listen from child. We need to get meat to get strong and all these things. And I just, knowledge is key. I just try to get more about myself when I hit that wall, and I realized that I can do this. And the way to do this ultra marathons and ultra athletic stuff are this way. I fail a lot, and I wake up a lot, and went back to it. Every day we fail, but training is the best moment on how to learn how to succeed. And,
okay, so how does people follow you? You've got your own website, or
I have an Instagram and Facebook, and I have a website for the Qatar Quest. Yes.
Yeah. So what's the website address?
The website is the qatarquest.com.
Okay.
And Instagram is my name, and my page, Facebook, is my name.
Yeah. Perfect. Because I'm sure, I know that you're going to be. I introduced you to Colin. The triathlon.
Yeah.
Okay, great guy. Another great guy. Okay, so what people are going to want to get in contact with you to see how they can start their journey. And I do wish you all the best. I do wish you the best, because you've got a mammoth task in front of you, but I want you to succeed. And I know that the good work that you're going to do for the handicapped children, you're making a huge difference. And that's what this show is all about. And you're doing so many different things, and you've done so many different things. It's an absolute pleasure on the show today.
Thanks. And we try to involve all the overall aspects of the community. We have like 7 Qatari triathletes with us, and other triathletes from all around the world. Try to mix all these cultural aspects.
Fantastic.
Some Ironman world champion also coming up. So it's not because we know I'm connected with many people around the world, and And they just, what I like is like community, regardless their position or what they have done in the past, if they are simple amateurs or professional, they just click into the project and boom, it's not, no matter about I'm getting what I'm going to get from that is how I can contribute to that, and,
good on you,
into the effort for that. So it's just amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute joy, and I just want to kind of say I don't have to ramble on or say things to kind of try and bring up all the things that Hichame said today. His story is incredible. I really do hope that you gained a lot from it. I've gained a hell of a lot from it. And especially I can relate to the person on my shoulder telling me that I need to do stuff. Okay, so listen to it. Anything's possible. That's what I'm going away with today. Anything's possible. And it doesn't matter whether it's you're running the same type of events that Hichame's running. It doesn't matter. What you've got to do is just take those steps. I can see, Hichame, that you're going to be an absolute inspiration. We're following your story so much it's going to be untrue. Please keep in touch and come on to the show afterwards. Whether you're going to succeed, but just come on and tell us the experiences again, because today was a really good one, and I know that our listeners are going to find it really interesting. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening. This will be coming out Tuesday. Honestly, it's a story it really is an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Thank you so much, and listen to. I'm looking forward to speaking next time. Thank you very much. Bye for now.